It's a cruel, cruel summer. I always think of that song when I hear Cruel Summer. Not Taylor Swift, okay? Which is what most people would think of, which is arguably a better, more interesting song. No, I think of that classic. Cruel Summer. This is book 2 in the Seasons of Revenge series by Morgan Elizabeth. It is a Mean Girls inspired, age gap, grumpy sunshine, single dad, spicy rom-com. This book is about Camille, which was Abby from 'Tis the Season for Revenge. It was her best friend, okay? So she takes a summer job doing event planning for a elite beach club on Long Island. Now, the man who hired her, who owns this beach club, his daughter is getting married this summer at the club, and it's kind of part of her trial period as their event planner to plan this wedding that it has no budget because they're so rich. They just want it to be the event of the season, and this woman is the epitome of bridezilla. But not only that, she is marrying a man who has twin daughters who are also Satan incarnate. They're terrible for no reason. When I say Mean Girls inspired, they are the mean girls. They were Stacy and Lacey, but they were spelled at the end instead of a Y, it was E-I-G-H. So like the fancy rich bitch way. Besides the evil twins, the bride has another daughter and her name is Olivia. She is in her early 20s and is wanting to start her own PR company. And to do that, she needs the money from her trust. Her mom and her do not have a great relationship over the summers. Her mom seems to value money and status over everything else. And she feels like whenever she's around her mom, she has to change who she is and sort of become more of how her mom is just to keep the peace. Her mom tells her this summer, as long as my wedding goes off without a hitch and you keep your soon-to-be stepsisters happy, I will give you your trust early, because I don't think she's supposed to have access to it till she's like 30 or something like that. But she's like, I'll give it to you early if you just make this happen. So she gets hired by her grandfather to be Cammie's personal assistant to help event plan. They sort of have a rocky start. So the first night that Cammie's in town, her and her girlfriends are helping her get settled into her new place, and they go to this pub that's across the street. It's like a fishery where they make the best French fries and beer, and it's a pub, okay? It's not fancy. It's in a fish town. They get really drunk, and that's where they meet Zach, the rugged bar owner, and he's just really sweet to them right away. He's very interactive. This guy, when I tell you, he's the sunshine, okay? She's the grump. He is all dad jokes and smirks and just charm. Cammie is very closed off. She's been burned by people before. She had an ex-boyfriend in college who was basically dared to make her fall in love with him and then break up with her and humiliate her. So ever since then, she has not trusted anybody, especially men. Her friends are tired of her living her life so jaded, and they tell her, you gotta open up, okay? You gotta start making friends this summer. We think it'll be really good for you. Stop waiting for everybody to disappoint you. Give people chances. And she goes, fine. She decides that a good place to start would be with her assistant, Olivia. She usually has like pretty solid first impressions, but she doesn't know how to peg Olivia quite yet. But she's promised to be more open. So she gives it a shot. She opens up to her, and she ends up inviting her to a party on the Memorial Day, I believe. She tells her that the theme is Americana, and so to come like red, white, and blue, stars, very campy. And so she comes, and it turns out it was a bait and switch, just like in Mean Girls, where it was a very classy, all white kind of formal event. And she was supposed to be embarrassed. She ends up making friends with one of the other girls who works at the country club, and she has a dress that she changes into really quick and is able to save face a little bit and goes, I see how it is. This is how our relationship is gonna be. Welcome to hell, okay? You're my assistant, so buckle up, bitch. She ends up leaving the party early because despite the fact that she has a very hard exterior, she is very soft on the inside, and she's just kind of bummed out that she thought she was making friends and she was really just being stabbed in the back again and proven right. She ends up going back to the bar where Zach works because they have been texting back and forth, and he's like, how's your night going? She's like, honestly, it's kind of shitty. So he's like, oh, come to the bar, I'll feed you. There's nothing but like fancy rich people food here anyway, so get some French fries, grab a drink. It'll be great. Tell you this woman, her favorite beverage is an Aperol Spritz, okay? Because she's fancy. And the first time she was there, she asked for one. He's like, look around. Okay, this is a fish pup. We don't make that. So she shows up at the bar. She's all bummed out. What does he have? He bought ingredients to make Aperol Spritz just for her. He's like, this is just for you. This is back here. Whenever you want one, I'll make you one. If anyone else here asks for one, I don't have those ingredients. Sorry. And you know what? My husband would do that. If we owned a bar and he didn't want to stock something, he'd be like, yeah, I will have Prosecco in the back for you, but not for anyone else. He has been trying to get her to go out with him since he first met her, basically. He gave her his phone number. He's been nothing but sweet and flirtatious over text message. When she finally did text him, he was like, took you long enough. It was like playful razzing. I loved it. So they end up sleeping together, and it is electric and explosive and steamy. Morgan, she writes really great dirty talk. She writes phenomenal just spice for cartoon cover rom-coms. It really it hits you in the face when it hits you, and I loved it. He's also not at all embarrassed that she walks in when Cammie's sitting here on the counter in like her underwear and his t-shirt. He's like, oh, hey, that's my boss. He had no idea that she had an internship. He's like, well, if you would have talked to me, then maybe I would have been able to avoid this type of a situation, but I really like her. We're together now. We're adults. You're an adult. So like, I don't see what the problem is here. And then he knew about the situation the night before where she was tricked and betrayed. Cammie kind of tried to save her a little bit, but he put the puzzle pieces together and was like, it was you. You tricked Kim. I raised you better than that. And they get into a little bit of a fight. And I like how he defended her. Because it wasn't like he was against his daughter, but he was like not going to be on his daughter's side just because she was his daughter. Because her choices were wrong. After that situation, Cammie and Olivia, they talk a little bit. And she says, hey, I don't want to be mean to you, but here's the deal. I'm not going to get my trust unless I keep my cousins happy. Or not my cousins, my soon-to-be stepsisters happy. And they, for some reason, have targeted you this summer. And the reason for that is Stacy. She is trying to go after this rich guy at the club. And that rich guy happens to be none other than ding, 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 Cammie's horrible ex who broke her trust in college, who like got together with her just for a bet. And he sees Cammie and how well she's thriving and wants to try to get her back. Stacy's like, ew, she's trying to steal my man, even though she's like, gag me with a spoon. You can have him. It's just like the competition and the fact that any attempts Stacy and Lacey have made to take her down haven't really worked because she knows how to play the game and she knows how to deal with hoes like this. Olivia's bottom line is every woman for themselves. I'm going to do what I need to do to look out for me and to get my trust at the end of the summer. So just be on the lookout. I'll try to give you a heads up when I can, but I'm not going to have your back if it's not going to be in my best interest. And she's like, you know what? I respect that. It's shitty, but I respect it. She spends the whole summer planning these beautiful, extravagant events and sort of sidestepping all of these cruel plans by these young women while also dealing with the bridezilla that is Olivia's mom. She continues to see Zach and further develop their relationship whenever she has the time. She stays at his place or he'll stay at her place. They continue to have smoking hot sex with each other. And he's so sweet. He knows her schedule. He knows her eating habits. And so if he knows she's going to skip lunch, guess who has lunch waiting for her? If she woke up and doesn't have coffee, who's at her work the very next morning, cup in hand, exactly how she likes it. He's so perfect. And he leaves secret notes for her under the coffee sleeve and has never told her about them. So she reads them every morning, but she's like, I don't know if he knows that I know where these are and that I've been reading them every day. Like clearly he's writing them for her, but they're kind of like his little secret, little like love notes to her. Swoony. Eventually the issues with Stacy and Lacey escalate and they decide these girls need to be taken down, okay? They need to have a taste of their own medicine. So the wedding goes off without a hitch. It's gorgeous, beautiful, stunning. Then the groom, he is so not in this marriage that as soon as the wedding is over, he gets on a private plane and leaves. He's like, I don't need to go to the reception. The party is almost over and it's time for Stacy, I think, to do the speech, her speech. And it was a photo collage that she had someone else put together just about herself, had nothing to do with her mom or anything. So they sort of hacked the photo collage and ended up putting text messages that Stacy had in her phone of her trashing everyone in their friends group and people at the club and making fun of them. So then everyone got to see her exposed, 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 exposed. And she was not happy. So they got their revenge. Olivia learned to stick up for herself. She still was able to gain access to her trust when she explained everything to her grandfather, which I thought was really great. Another thing that was a little bit different about this was Cammie has never wanted to get married and she's never wanted to have kids. And Zach would always kind of drop questions like that. He is very conversational and just wanted to know her thoughts. He's a great listener. So when she was kind of afraid to open up about the fact that she doesn't think she ever wants to get married and ever have kids, that she doesn't need a piece of paper, the sort of like marriage is a social construct kind of thing, he was like, totally respect that and honestly kind of agree. So they were perfect for each other in that regard, that those weren't some things that they felt they needed to be happy in their lives. And I always appreciate it in books where they can represent people who decide not to make those choices, because obviously it's more common for romance books to end, you know, getting married, epilogue babies. Am I a fan of that? Yes, 100%. I love marriage and I love babies, but it's nice to see people represented, because I have people in my life who are not married or who are married and don't have kids, and they live perfectly happy, fulfilled lives. And I think that it's important to have examples of romances where they don't need that to be fulfilled and happy. Oh, but after the revenge, I forgot to say, Stacy and Lacey had one last attempt to try to take them down, and it was by attacking the bar, Zach's bar. And he was gonna have to shut down and he was gonna lose his business because they weren't gonna have enough money to survive after the hit that these two ladies were trying to pull off. And so Olivia and Cammie were like, skirt, hold the phone. This is not going to happen. We're not going down this way. So they planned this huge, elaborate, fun end of summer party to be held at the fishery. And it was great. Everyone thought it was so fun, and they decided to make it an annual thing. They called it their anti-bitch pack party, because that's what they called the mean girls, the bitch pack. Everyone had so much fun being in a space without those girls ruining the environment with their nonsense. This was just a delightful from beginning to end spicy romantic comedy, a perfect addition to any sort of summer reading list any time of year, really. Her Seasons of Revenge series, like I said, book 1 is 'Tis the Season for Revenge. It is based around Halloween and Christmas time. I'm really excited to see what seasons she decides to play with for book 3. Absolutely would recommend. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel and hit the little notification bell so you don't miss out on any of my spoiler-filled spicy book reviews or any other bookish content. Happy reading!